It's a rye. We should go ahead and pour that in our glass. I want to use a rocks glass. This is a hefty ice. A hefty drink. It's a strong drink. You only want to drink a few of these and you'll be good. So we're going to add our simple syrup. Probably did about 3 ounces of bourbon, an ounce of simple syrup, about three or four dabs of bitters. Stir that up. Take an orange peel. You want to do this when you make the drink. You don't want to do this ahead of time. You want to do your orange when you make it, because if you do it ahead of time, the essential oils will kind of dry out. And right now it's fresh. We're going to take the orange around the cup, and that really highlights the bourbon. It brings out the flavor. We're going to put a little ice in here. Put our orange in there. A few of these are Woodford Reserve cherries. I mean, they make so many different great types of cherries nowadays. But you pick whatever you like, whatever your store has. Just a little stir. And that's it. It's a very simple drink, but it's delicious. Old Fashioned is my favorite drink, hands down. So you taste it, make sure it's good. That's amazing. Brown sugar, sorghum, bourbon, orange, and then that cherry that you can't beat it. So to make this simple syrup, what I did, I took about a cup of sorghum. You can use molasses, you can use maple syrup. Those flavors go great with bourbon too. So a cup of that, a cup of sugar, and a cup of water. Just melt it over a low heat for about 5 minutes. Let it cool, and you're ready to go. So I have to drink this again. This was good. Wow. All right. So we're going to move on to our next drink. This is the Red Panther. It's actually a red snapper, but the way we're doing things, we're doing it the Red Panther because it's going to kind of bite you with the smoked horseradish. So let me move this stuff out of the way. John, my helper, is not helping.
Oh, sorry.
We're going to switch all this stuff over here. Okay. Right. So it essentially has all the ingredients of a Bloody Mary, but we use gin instead of vodka. It's quite delicious. Okay, so my condiments are right there. So we use a shaker for our Bloody Mary. I like pickle juice. Your favorite pickles. I like sweet and heat. Famous Dave's is what we had at the store here. If you're near Louisville, there's a place called Pop's Pickles where they sell it at like Kroger and stuff like that. That's my favorite pickle, but a good quality pickle because we're going to use the juice out of this as well. Smoked horseradish. This is something you can't buy at the store. You have to do this on your own. So if you own a smoker or you know how to smoke things at home using a little pan with some wood chips, and it's not hard to do, but it definitely kind of got to know what you're doing. I just took some prepared horseradish, smoked it for about an hour at a very, very low temperature, and it's delicious. This is what makes this drink. Fresh garlic. If you use fresh garlic, make sure it's chopped up very fine, because when you drink it, you don't want that big whole chunk of garlic. So it's kind of kind of gotta be fine. Because if not, use garlic powder. That'll work fine too. But I like that strong, pungent garlic in your face. If you don't like it, use garlic powder because it kind of melts into it. I have a seasoning blend here with celery salt, cumin, chili powder. We like it spicy, so I put some ghost chili flakes in this as well. Yeah, it's delicious. I think that's it. Worcestershire, tomato juice. You can skip all this and just use a pre-made mix, but what's the fun in that? So, start off with our shaker. Some ice. So I like to add these ingredients in before I add the tomato juice in, because that tomato juice will kind of sit, it'll bring all those ingredients in and mix them up a little bit better than it would put them on top. Be harder to mix. So I'm gonna put a few pinches of my seasoning in there. Smoked habanero hot sauce. You can use any hot sauce. I have a thing for hot sauce, so I make it all the time. And this is my own personal smoked habanero hot sauce. If you ever come to the school, we have a hot sauce bar that me and the other cooks and chefs, you know, we love to sample and make new things. So we started a hot sauce bar, and you know, we have your typical kind of store-bought stuff, but we have a lot of stuff we make on our own too. So that's a little bit of garlic, the smoked horseradish. You know, if you like it, add a lot. I like it. Pickle juice. You can use olive juice if you don't like sweet. This is going to add that sweet and smoky. So you got the smoky, we got the sweet. Too much. A couple dabs of Worcestershire. And then our tomato juice. I actually won an award in Louisville. It was a habanero tomato water cucumber. I don't know, I've done so many weird Bloody Marys, but I think the winner was tomato water, cucumber, habanero, lime Bloody Mary. It was pretty awesome. Taste of Derby is what it was called. So all those ingredients in here, we're just going to shake it up. Pour into a tall glass. See, I like to see chunks in it. That's what I like to see, that horseradish. When I do this, it's a morning drink for me. So I like to have a meal in my Bloody Mary. So I did a skewer of banana peppers, peppadew peppers, tomato, green olives. Put that in there. I also have these awesome Italian chili peppers. They're called calabrese peppers. You can find them at any grocery store. I like to just put these in here, let them sink. So you have a little treat at the end. They're not too spicy. They're delicious. And then my pickle. Not yet. There we go. Smoked horseradish, Bloody Panther. Try it. Wow, that's good. Wow, that's really good. Like that. All right, that's fire. Let me wipe down real quick. So that was the Red Panther, Red Bloody Panther. Would help if I put some gin in it, though, say. Got ahead of myself. That's okay, though. You just stir it in. There's a lot of stuff in front of me. I'm sorry. I missed that. So the gin is what makes it a red Panther, red snapper, instead of a Bloody Mary. Wow. The floral essence of that gin, going with that smoked horseradish and that pickle juice, it just really combines so well. So good. That's good. That was even better than, wow. I was concerned about that. I've never made that before until this. You know, I'm a vodka guy when it comes to Bloody Marys, but I think next time I go to a brunch, I'm definitely going to get, well, they won't know what a Red Panther is, but I'll order a Red Snapper. All right, so next up. This is the redefined Janet Guthrie. Hope I'm saying that right. We're going to call it the 1883. Janet was the first woman who won the Indy 500, I believe in the 70s. I didn't know that until I did a little research. When I was doing research for this event, I looked up Indiana's state drink. And you wouldn't believe it, but what I found on multiple websites was Jägermeister and Red Bull. So I don't think we enjoy that. Maybe when we were in our 20s, but not anymore. I've had enough of that. So in 1883, that was the year the first female graduated from Hanover College. So we're going to call it the 1883 in honor of her. So, how many shots? About 2 ounces, 2.5 ounces probably. So, now you're slacking, John. So this is a cool drink. This is going to be really refreshing. We're putting our own twist on it. It's basically like vodka and iced tea. We're going to do something different. We're going to do a lemon lime simple syrup, mint, blueberries, sweet tea, and vodka. So a little bit more kicked up a notch. That's kind of what we do at the school. It's kind of what I've done my whole life. Just take something that just doesn't have the pizzazz, and we put the pizzazz in. John, where's that? Oh, the shaker. I'm gonna go rinse this out real quick. Just water. Okay. We gotta rinse the shaker out really quick. I don't want to forget the main star of this one, the vodka. I like to use Tito's. It's gluten-free. You never know what has what in it these days. Seems like Tito's is kind of becoming the world's favorite mid-grade vodka. With this drink, I had like a fun mason jar because it's a summer drink. Thank you. So, I like the blueberries to burst in this this drink. That's why we're going to start off in our shaker with some blueberries. We're gonna muddle them up. Got some mint. I'm gonna rip it up a little bit before I put it in the drink. Because you're gonna be, you're drinking it. You don't want, a whole mint leaf going in. You want pieces of it. When we do this too, it's gonna release all the oils. Okay. Where's my muddler? So a little muddler. Just gonna smash it just a little bit. Add a few more blueberries. we're going to add about 2 ounces of vodka. You can use any sweet tea you like. Homemade's best. I'm friends with this guy at Arizona, so he made this for me. About 4 ounces of that. What am I missing? My simple syrup. So this is lemon lime simple syrup. So I took about 2 lemons, 2 limes, a cup and a half of sugar, a cup of water. Same thing with the sorghum brown sugar. Just melt it over low heat for about 10 minutes. And there you go. Just an ounce of that. Stir it up. Add ice. Stir it up again. We're not shaking it. Just stirring up to mix those blueberries. Pour into our cup. Then I like to garnish this just with a lime. That looks good. Can't see it. Okay, a couple of blueberries on top. And there you go. Oh, wait, let's put a little mint on top too. Just a couple mint leaves. I don't know if you can see that. Refreshing summer drink for sure.
You got the best job here.
It's good.
Keep making drinks.
I'm about to finish these drinks too.
That's good.
Okay, so I'm going to clean up real quick. I'm going to open this up to you guys. Questions?
What's your favorite drink?
The old fashioned.
Of the 3 of them.
That old fashioned's fire, but the that bloody panther, that was legit. The smoked horseradish, that sets it on fire. That gin, you know, that floral juniper taste out of it is amazing. Questions? Concerns? Nicole, anybody?
Why rye bourbon?
Oh, they are, okay. I think the balance, so the rye bourbon, what's Jason, why is rye so perfectly?
I think because it gives the spiciness.
Yeah.
Like that little bit of the kick in
Yeah.
the rye gets a little bit of heat.
Yeah. So that rye puts that a little bit, it has a fieriness to it. I'm not a huge fan of drinking rye neat. I like it watered down with a little ice or in an old fashioned because the sweetness, that sugar really balances it out perfectly. I'm more of a wheated bourbon guy when it comes to drinking it neat. With the rye and the sugar, it's perfect. So, any more?
Oh, that's it. Right now.
That's it. So, does anybody have any questions about simple syrups? You can do so much with simple syrups. You can use honey, orange. You can use fresh herbs, rosemary.
Give us a ginger beer cocktail kicked up a notch.
A what?
A ginger beer cocktail kicked up a
A
notch.
ginger beer cocktail. All right, ginger beer, bourbon, and a lime. Now that's Moscow. That's a Kentucky mule. So I've lived in Kentucky the past 16 years. That's not kicked up a notch, but that's a delicious drink. So ginger beer, bourbon, and lime. But if I had to kick up ginger beer, that's pretty normal drink. Ginger beer. tequila, be it wild. Maybe sweet and sour or something like that. Try it like a Bloody Mary, a margarita, because that the ginger beer will add carbonation, and the ginger will add kind of a punch in the face. But then again, you could do like Szechuan pepper, take it to another level, like an Asian kind of style. Do like pink peppercorns, cilantro, ginger beer. What's that? Sake. That'd be pretty good. Trying to go with that.
How do you smoke horseradish without drying it out?
Good question. I actually thought that myself, because when I've smoked horseradish in the past, I've always used fresh horseradish. This time I use prepared horseradish. So fresh horseradish, you're basically kind of like, when you cook it, it kind of softens up. So it's not really drying out, because the moisture releases itself when it cooks. So when you do the prepared horseradish, I have a smoker at work that goes down to 150 degrees. So, and that smoke is still, it's like a cold smoke almost. Because like when you eat smoked salmon, it's cold smoked. So there's no real heat going to it. So you just have to do an intense smoke at a low heat. So if you're doing it at home in your smoker, I would keep that horseradish at the very top level of your smoker, as far away from the heat element as possible. And you really only want to do it. I laid my horseradish out flat. I didn't pile it up on a large sheet tray. I laid it out flat, so it intensely hit it all at once, all the layers. That's a great question, because I thought that too when I was doing it. Yeah, and you don't want to open up the door when you're smoking, because all that smoke goes out. Just like an oven, all the heat goes out when you're cooking. It can damage the product. So
We've got a bunch of questions about simple syrup. Basically, how long does it keep? Do you need to refrigerate it? What do you store it in?
one at a time. All right, how long does it keep? How long does it keep? Quite a while. I mean, basically, a simple syrup is just equal parts sugar and water. That's your basic simple syrup. I like having that around because it doesn't, when you put sugar in something, in a drink, it will get grainy. You apply heat to something, it melts. You already did that with a simple syrup. So how long does it store? I mean, it'll last forever in your cooler. I keep it in the ice box, and it'll last for a long time. So the next question.
If you don't have a bottle, what's the best way to store it?
One second, I'm gonna go back to that. It depends what you put in the simple syrup too. If you put fresh herbs like tarragon or rosemary or thyme, then those do turn bad eventually. So maybe like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month. But you can tell, just it'll start to change colors. Yeah.
And are all your simple syrups a 1-to-1 water-sugar ratio?
No. So the simple syrup, it just depends. So I put honey. If I make a honey simple syrup, I'll do, it just depends what you put in the simple syrup. This is what I said when you do a simple syrup. So if you make a blueberry simple syrup, something like that has sweetness in it, you have to judge that. So you want to start off with, I would say, 3/4 of a cup of sugar, 2 cups of blueberries, and then a cup of water. You can always put in what you can't take out. So if you put way too much water in or way too much sugar, it's going to be too sweet or too less sweet. And you got to, so you got to readjust it. But it's a lot easier to start off with a little bit and then add more at the end. But it's just like the same thing with cooking, balancing the flavors. Yeah. like the brown sugar and the sorghum today, sorghum's really sweet. So I didn't add as much brown sugar as I did water because the sorghum was really sweet. It's just experimenting. And no matter what, you're putting booze in it. So after a couple drinks, who cares? Really?
A question about bourbon.
Give me that Bloody Mary.
What's your favorite easy to find straight bourbon?
Favorite easy to find straight bourbon. This is probably a bad answer. I like Granddad Bottle and Bonded, Old Granddad Bottle and Bonded. It's 100 proof. It's strong. Kind of kicks. I go through phases. I love bourbon, so it just depends what I'm going through that day. Lately, I've been on Old Granddad. It's cheap. It's strong. It's smooth. I like that. But then I'll go through phases where I like Larceny. That's a wheated bourbon. Just depends, you know. But Old Forester is delicious. They make so many different types. It's fun to pick some and try them all. If Weller's was available, I would drink that probably every day, but it's kind of hard to get. See a bunch of them back there, though. Might have to steal a couple off this guy.
Not tied into the bourbon question, but back to the horseradish, smoked horseradish. Chris Phelps said use a smoke gun instead of a barbecue.
Right. If you're going to do that, it's not going to smoke it long enough. But there's something you can really do that's really cool. It's like gastronomical. I was in New York a couple years ago for this show called Chopped. I lost in the dessert round.
Close. You're close.
I got these bad judges. I won the dessert round, but whatever. I like to talk about it. So I went to this bar the next day, and they had that smoke gun. And what they did would take this like large bubble and put the drink in, or actually put the shot inside the bubble and seal it off. And they would somehow put the smoke gun in it, and that smoke would just really smoke the bourbon or whatever it was. I was drinking an old fashioned, and so you smoke it, and then like all of a sudden it drops into the glass, and the smoke comes out. It was really neat. So you can use a smoke gun like that to have that quick smoke on like a liqueur, but something that, and it's going to be right in your face as well. So you're going to experience that flavor from that. But smoke guns are hard to put a long flavor on something if you're not going to use it right away, I imagine.
Okay.
It's a good question, though.
That's it for questions right now.
Okay, so if that's all the questions, I mean, if you think of any more, just ask at the end. I will say this, picking the right glass is essential. You know, for the old fashioned, we want a rocks glass is wide. You know, you want that flavor and smell to go in your nose. The 1883 we made, that's a fun glass. It was a fun drink. It's a chugging glass because you're gonna, on a hot summer day, you can definitely drink a few of those in the sun or by the pool. And then a Bloody Mary, you definitely want a tall glass for that. So put your garnishes in and whatever. I was gonna bring a whole rotisserie chicken, put that on top, but Kroger was out. So, all right, so we're gonna put this up to Jason. He's gonna talk about the bourbons we're choosing today. The taste. Hanover might be in Indiana, but super close to Kentucky. So we like our bourbon.
How y'all doing out there today? First bourbon we're gonna try, well, if I don't knock over the glasses, is Old Forester 1920. This is a Prohibition style bourbon. As you may or may not know, Brown-Forman was one of the only distilleries in America to be allowed to produce bourbon during the Prohibition. They produced it as medicinal whiskey, believe it or not. But I'll have Andrew come over here and we'll get our initial nosing and taste and finish off of it and see what he thinks.
I love it, sure.
Oh yeah, that's good.
We're twisting his arm right now.
So what are the characteristics of this?
This is 115 proof. It's going to be a little hot. It's going to have a good caramel flavor. Lots of little bit of heat, but not so much heat that it'd be like a rye.
Is this of all the Old Foresters, is this the most highly desired one?
No, the Old Forester birthday bourbon
Yeah.
is the most.
That's pretty hard to get.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to get, but you can get the Prohibition style at your local liquor store. They carry it.
What's the price point?
$60.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. But I like to just give it a smell. Let's get the initial, kind of what you feel. Like I said, you smell that spice. You
Yeah,
smell
it's
that.
definitely spicy.
Yeah. And then I'll give it a taste.
It's delicious. Now, is there a certain way you want to drink out of what's this glass called?
This is called a Glencairn. And these are what you want if you want to just taste bourbon. They concentrate the nose of the bourbon up the top of the glass. You can swirl it around, kind of like people do wine. Just get a little bit of air into the bourbon, open it up a little bit, let it set a little bit, and then give it a try. And it'll change. The flavor will change if you let it set. It'll open up more. If you really want to taste the flavor, add a little water, just a little bit to your bourbon, and it won't have as much heat, as much spice, but you'll really taste more flavor. So that's a tip you can try at home.
It's very delicious. A little spicy, but then you said add that water, and
Yeah,
it's very good.
yeah, it's got a good strong finish. I really like it. Enjoy it.
So I want to add a side note. We're all kind of good friends, and we hang out quite a bit. So that's why we're not doing the masks today, but we're definitely usually always wearing those.
All right, our next bourbon is Four Roses Small Batch Select. It's a non-chill filtered bourbon, which basically means it has all the everything from the barrel, like none of the I guess it's only been sock filtered, so none of the char is in there, but like the real essence from the barrel is still in there. If you were to add like ice to this bourbon, it would get cloudy because it's not chill. It's not chill filtered, so the distillates will show up in your glass.
What is, you said sock filter? Does that mean just like a
Yeah,
cloth, basically?
exactly. Like when they dump the barrel at the warehouse, it'll pour straight out into a sock filter, and it'll catch like the char from inside the oak barrel, and then it'll be filtered, refined more. But in a case like this, where it's non-chill filtered, all the distillate's still in there, so you get a lot of flavor. Really delicious. So we'll give this one a try. This is 104 proof, a little less than the Prohibition Old Forester.
What's the price point on this one?
This one is $60 as well. And you can still find this at your local liquor store. It hasn't been scooped up yet, but it's going to be a treasure. So if you get a chance, scoop it up.
So a little funny story about Four Roses. My first year as executive chef, I was 22 years old, and the first dinner I ever did with pairings was with the Four Roses Master Distiller. 22 years old. Back then, I wasn't really appreciative of bourbon. He gave me this really, really, really rare, only 500 ever made, and I made a bunch of Jack and Cokes. And you don't want to make Jack and Cokes out of this, do you?
No. This is strictly you want to drink this neat, and enjoy the flavor.
There's nothing wrong with Jack and Cokes or anything like that. But if you're gonna do that,
spend your money on something else.
For sure.
Like Jack Daniels. I got a lot of floral on my nose.
Good. It looks beautiful. It's a lighter kind of color. You can kind of see that. I think it's very nice.
So who drinks bourbon now? Because back in the day, it wasn't really considered maybe everyone's style, but now it's different, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like bourbon has made a revolution. I mean, in the early 1900s, that was what people drank, was bourbon. And then they started going to mixers and clear liquors. Through the 80s, a lot of the great distillers went out of business just because there was no market for bourbon then. In the early 90s, started to come back a little bit, late 90s, and then in the 2000s, bourbon has really started to catch back, become popular again. That's really good. Got a sweet finish, long finish. It's really good.
All right.
Let me grab our next one.
I think I like that. It was better than the first one, I think.
Oh,
Not that it was boiled, it was just a little bit not as spicy.
I like the spice. I think I like 1920.
Oh, and before I forget, this is Michter's straight rye. It's a single barrel, 10 years old. John, would you be kind enough to grab me some of that water? I want to cleanse my palate before I try this one.
No water for you.
Michter's has been around. It was an old distillery, went out of business, and it was resurrected in the 90s. And now it's right down the street, their distillery in Shively. And then they have a tour center on Main Street in Louisville. So you ought to check that out. It's really nice.
So there's a lot of mixers out there. And a lot of Four Roses and a lot of Old Forester. There's so many I can't keep up with.
Yeah.
But the mixers, there's a few, but there's enough to confuse you.
Oh yeah.
How do you decide which bourbons to go for?
Well, for me, I like higher proof bourbons myself, and that's just it seems like bourbon drinkers, in my opinion, are like wine drinkers. When you start out, you might like a sweeter wine, but as time goes on, you start preferring a drier wine. And in bourbon, it's like you'll start out liking a lower proof, sweeter bourbon, and then as time goes on, you'll start liking that higher proof, a little bit more burn. You'll start developing your palate for that. But we'll give this one a try.
Before you pour it, what's your favorite bourbon?
My favorite bourbon? Wow. That's like so hard to answer, John. It's like it depends on your mood, how you feel.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on in your life?
If it's been a hard day.
Yeah, if it's been a rough day, I'll pour something really strong.
Yeah.
If it's been like a chill, I just want to relax on the back porch and enjoy a nice flavorful bourbon. It just depends. Like Blanton's is really good. At home, just for an everyday sipper. If I have a rough day, then I might hit that Old Forester 1920, a little bit hotter. Get the job done.
So everybody knows about Old Pappy. Well, you know, it's so hard to get a bottle,
Oh yeah,
thousands of dollars.
Pappy Van Winkle. Yeah.
What's your opinion on? Is it worth? Of course, I think it's worth it for the price if you can find it
At
the store.
retail.
Yeah.
At
What do you
retail.
think about people trying to sell it?
Well,
It's delicious.
It's good, but you got to understand, Pappy Van Winkle is the same mash bill as Weller 12.
My favorite.
And they go through and they pick the barrels out of the Weller 12 that are going to be the Pappy 15 year. Then they go through and pick the best barrels out of the Pappy 15 year to be the 20 year. And then they pick the best barrels from the 20 year to be the 23 year. So, I mean, to me, the 20-year Pappy is the most flavorful. I think the 23-year has a lot of wood flavor in it, but it's everybody's an individual. You all got your own taste, so
Yeah.
that's how I feel. Personally, do I feel it's worth paying $3,000 a bottle for? No, but if you can get it for the retail price,
Yeah.
all day.
I worked at the English Grill. I was the chef de cuisine at the Brown Hotel. My last day there, a guy came in and ordered 2 shots of the Pappy 23, $800 a pop. I took the shot glass that he had and I went,
Got a little taste of it. And I think you'll find this unique. A lot of ryes are really spicy. This will have a really smooth vanilla flavor.
nice.
Uh,
What proof is this?
This is 92.8 proof.
So I don't think we ever got to that question of what makes you pick this Michter's? Oh, you said the higher proof. Is that one?
Well, I wanted to include a good rye in this taste. And they have a Michter's 10-year bourbon. It's delicious. But I really feel the rye in this case is superior to the 10-year bourbon. It's just the vanilla flavor is excellent. Try it for yourself and at home and see what you think. But
It smells nice.
it's delicious.
That's good.
It's tasty, you know. Got a good,
Strong,
strong.
smooth, mellow. You said?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah. That's my favorite so far.
it's excellent.
Ramping it up.
Getting better and better as the tastings go on.
We got one more to try.
Well, it's gonna be hard to beat this one. I recently fell in love with this one.
Excuse my reach.
So this is the E.H. Taylor single barrel.
Well, this is hard to get.
Yeah, these are ones that are, you can't really find them. If you see one, grab it.
The price point?
Retail is around $100. But on the secondary market, it's going to be ridiculous. This is the only bottled in bond that we've tried so far, which bottled in bond is from the 1897 Bottled in Bond Act. Basically, it just stated that it had to be in a government watched warehouse. The bourbon had to be aged at least 4 years. And it was really to prevent back in the late 1800s when people were selling just whatever they wanted. And it gave people a stamp of purity that this is, you know, government approved, great bourbon.
Like the organic of bourbons.
Question from Christy Hughes. For someone who has never had bourbon, what do you recommend starting with?
What do I recommend starting with? I'll tell you, I would try Blanton's. I think that's a good starting point, or Weller.
What if you can't get those?
Then just
Those are hard to get.
yeah, they are. Then an off-the-shelf bourbon.
I'd say Basil Hayden. I think it's
Yeah.
like the
Basil Hayden
starter.
would be really good. It's
Good
a high,
price point.
it's a higher rye. Or Old Forester 86 proof
Yeah,
would be a good one.
it's a good one too.
Yeah.
That's the one I started with, and I was wondering why you didn't recommend that as you made me start with that.
Well, it's great.
It's a good bourbon.
Oh yeah. So this is 100 proof. Probably one of the better bourbons around.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Just different notes. It kind of hit you. You just don't expect it.
Yeah.
It's like you still taste it right now. Different notes.
It's got a strong finish, lasts, and a lot of bourbon people really look for that finish, like how long you savor the flavor after you taste it. Hard to beat a good
That's great.
E.H. Taylor.
Yeah. I've been looking for this one for a while. It's been hard to get. Actually, I walked into the liquor store next to the Hanover College a couple months ago, and a guy was behind me. I opened the door for him. He went right up to the counter, one bottle.
Gone.
He got it.
Oh,
There was a
man.
big bottle of Eagle Rare. And he was like, I grabbed that. I was like, darn it, I wanted that. He's like, I'll trade you. You can have this, and I'll take that. I was like, man, no, you got it.
Yeah. Pay it forward.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, especially with everyone being home right now
Oh, it's horrible.
with the pandemic, bourbon has went crazy.
Yeah.
It's just everyone. It's hard to get, hard to find, but it's out there. You just got to hunt for it. You'll find it.
Yeah, you have to pay a little more. I
Yeah.
was looking for an exercise bike today, and I guess the prices on those went up as well because people are buying those too.
Weights are expensive now.
Yeah. All right, so questions? I think that's all the bourbons we're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. That was awesome.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for the Bloody Mary. That was awesome.
He's letting us use his crib, taste his bourbons. So thank you so much.
No problem. Glad to have you
Let's
all.
see if there's any more questions here. Yeah, and we'd really like to thank everybody for letting us participate with you guys. Andrew and we're going into our third year at Hanover. We really enjoy it. We're glad to be part of the Hanover family. Again, Kentuckiana, Southern Indiana, Kentucky, bourbon, great people like Jason. They're all around this part of the state and country. So again, we are just so glad that we were able to showcase this. We'd love to be able to do this in person sometime too, but this is a good start. And anytime you guys need us to put something together for you, just let us know. Happy to do it.
I do want to give one quick shout out. Let's see here real quick. John Finley Crow, happy birthday.
Woohoo! Happy birthday, John.
Drink some bourbon, celebrate. So I got a question for you guys. Do any of you guys, are you fans of bourbon? Do you have any special bottles? Anything like that? Like I started collecting about 2 years ago. It's been fun. It's fun to go to different stores and meet different people and do different tastings, try things you've never tasted before. I recently tried the Woodford Reserve. It's a chocolate malted. I mean, who would have thought that chocolate and bourbon combined into a drink? I mean, there's just so many great, fun things you can do with it. But so what do you guys like? Is there any collectors out there? Any questions?
No questions right now.
No collectors, no favorite bottles? What's your favorite bourbon if you drank bourbon?
I'm not getting anything. I think we put him to sleep.
Uh,
Oh, I got one coming.
They're sipping on bourbon at home. Did a little too
hope
much.
so. I hope so.
The drinks on Andrew's.
I hope we're not the
Cocktails.
only ones drinking.
Yeah.
There's on Friday, The 26th of June, there's a Final Friday event on June 26th. Information can be found at Hanover EDU HC alumni events. So make sure everyone looks that up. And looks like you guys got something scheduled on June 26th. If your schedule is not clear, clear it. It'll be a great time. We've got a collecting Blanton stoppers right now from Natalie Jones.
It's all, each individual horse, I don't know if you can show it to them, it's bolted down, but every Blanton's bottle comes with a horse that's in a different running position and has a letter. And if you collect the whole collection, it's those Blantons. So I'll show you, like, for instance.
Oh, you got one.
Oh, yeah. Here is the letter B horse, and he's just chilling, getting ready to start the race.
Whole row of those.
Yeah, there's a whole row, and they all are just galloping along.
Give me a B. B. Give me an L. The summer cocktails is the topic at the June 26th event. We've got a Bullet Rye as my favorite from our master.
That's spicy.
Yeah.
That bullet, that'll put me under. I only have a few of those.
12-year rye is really good from Bullet.
I haven't had that yet.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So for you who loves bourbon, your favorite bourbon price point, what do you go for?
Man,
I mean, just price.
I'll tell you, for a new distillery was an older distillery, just came back in Louisville, is Peerless Distilling. Peerless makes some awesome rye and some awesome bourbon. I mean, it's delicious. I highly suggest you check it out.
I will in a second.
Yeah.
So basically, just going around the different distilleries in the Louisville area is a good start.
Go around,
try out some tastings.
Try what you, and everyone's different. So try different things and see what you like. I mean, it's the whole world.
Okay. I don't know, Nicole, if nobody else has any other questions, we've kept you guys for about an hour right now. We're happy to go longer if there's more questions, but we'll defer to you, Nicole. Go ahead and let us know what's up next.
Yeah, no, thank you guys so much for hosting this for us. I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure everybody else did.
Again, it was our pleasure, and everyone have a great night, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for having us.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.